Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? The Bearded Baron here, bringing you guys a different type of Dead by Daylight video. Hopefully this is going to be a new series for us, but this is going to encompass a breakdown of every major killer in Dead by Daylight. We're going to cover over their perks, their powers, their backstories, their attributes, plus a little bit of tips and tricks about each one of these killers, so that way you guys have a base understanding of each killer that is currently being played in Dead by Daylight, and that way if you guys want to try them out or maybe purchase them, then you can make so with an informed decision. But without further ado, let's get into the video. But we're going to start off with the Teachables here. Beast of Prey, your lust for a kill is so intense that your connection with the entity is momentarily lost, making you totally unpredictable. Grants the undetected status effect for gaining a Bloodlust tier 1. The status effect is removed once you lose the Bloodlust, but you also gain 30% more blood points in the Hunter category for this. Territorial Imperative is number 2. This unlocks the one's potential aura reading ability. Survivor's orders are revealed to you for 3 seconds when they enter the basement, and when you are more than 32 meters away from the basement entrance. And you can activate this once every 30 seconds. Hex Huntress Lullaby. This is actually a pretty good perk. Rooting power is Hex rooting in its power and despair. Your hunt an irresistible song of dread which muddles your prey's attention. Survivors receive a 2% regression penalty when missing any skill check. And also the big takeaway here is 1 to 4 tokens every time that you hook somebody. The time between the skill check warning sound and the skill checks becomes shorter, and at 5 tokens there is no skill check warning whatsoever. This is a great perk for slowing down the game. Her base max speed is 4.4 meters per second. She has a base terror radius of 20 meters, and her power is the hunting hatchets. So you start off a trial with 5 of them, with no individual or with no additional add-ons or anything like that to the hunt, or to add on to more hatchets. And then you can charge to throw for maximum speed. We're going to be showcasing that during here, and then you refill your hatchets at lockers. So first up, we want to talk about the Huntress's secondary power, her M2 ability, which is her hatchet. Now these are lethal in the right killer's hands. If you become proficient with throwing these hatchets, they're definitely going to help you out with being able to dominate during a gameplay. So the basics of it is that as long as you're holding down the M2, the Huntress will rear back the hatchet. Once you release, it will release the hatchet, and you can hit people from across the map. As you can see here coming up, I'm going to get an insanely far hit on the survivor that's there because I'm able to hold it down. Now here's a quick little tip for you as well for as far as hatchets are concerned. As long as you're holding down, you will continue to charge up your wind up for the hatchet throw. So basically what that means is that if you were to rapid fire wind up the hatchet and throw it, it would be slower, have more of an arc to it. If you hold it up, if you wait and then throw it, it's going to be thrown with a lot more force. You're going to be able to cover a lot of the map a lot faster, a lot quicker. Plus you're not going to have as much arc, which is great for trees and also any low-hanging kind of items, because the hatchets will hit on those items and it will block it. So this is absolutely essential for using it. It takes a bit of timing and it takes a bit of aiming to get it down, but once you do, these hatchets are absolutely lethal in a match. This next part is going to showcase the territorial imperative of the Huntress. Now, in my personal opinion, I don't put a lot of stock into territorial imperative because it only shows you when a survivor goes into the basement, which for the most part, most of the time, a survivor only goes down into the basement to check on the chest that's down there or to unhook another survivor, which as you become more proficient as a killer, you will know roughly when survivors will try to make a play for somebody down into the basement. So I don't think that this is necessarily needed once you have a good understanding of a killer in general. Maybe for starting off, especially if you think that people are being elusive to you. And then it plays really well too with her being the range way that she is, because she is a ranged character. She doesn't need to go right back to the basement in order to be able to make a play. You can see the survivor down in the basement, run down there, or wait for them to come out of the basement and then be able to throw your hatchets to be able to hit them. Now, your other two perks, Beast of Prey and Huntress Lullaby, are not going to be directly affected by the Huntress herself. Once you hit Bloodlust 1 with the Huntress, you're going to get an undetectable status applied to you, which is going to help you to hunt down the survivors. As well as the Huntress Lullaby, it is a Hex Rune, so you do need to keep an eye out for that. But just know that as you hook more and more survivors, you will see additional ticks on the perk icon itself until it gets up to 5 tokens, at which point you know that the survivors can't hear the skill checks at all. And it's a great replacement for Ruin as well, since they made the Ruin changes. So now this next section of when to hold and not to hold is very important with being able to learn to play the Huntress. Now, holding the Hatchet, for example, in this situation here, you can see that the survivor is trying to juke me, but by me holding on to it, I'm charging it up. My Hatchet is a lot faster. It's much harder to dodge, especially at closer ranges. So that is good to have. Now, you will also see a showcase here in just a minute of us running around a loop. Now, in this situation, the loop is too large, and when the Huntress actually winds up her Hatchet, she slows down considerably. Base speed, when she's running, she will catch up to a survivor eventually. However, when she rears up that Hatchet, she slows down considerably, and the survivor can actually gain distance on her. So it's a compromise of knowing when to hold the hatchets and when to let go of the hatchets. Now, it's very simple. Rather than waste your hatchet by releasing of the M2, while you're holding your mouse 2 button, or whatever button that you happen to be using to hold down the hatchet, if you hit your primary ability, in my case it's a mouse, so it's my M1 ability, it will cancel it, and the Huntress will put the hatchet back into her pouch, and you can continue forward. All right, guys, bonus tip of this video is going to be to try to lead your targets. And I know this seems pretty obvious to most people, but for a lot of people, you're missing your hatchet throws just by a little bit because you're not leading your targets. Another good tip as well is learn the path that a lot of survivors like to run with. The best Huntress players in Dead by Daylight not only lead their targets, but they also know the common patterns that survivors will try to run. So map awareness and what particular map you're playing definitely come into a factor when playing as the Huntress. But if you can learn those runs that survivors, those loops that the survivors like to use, you can cut them off with the hatchet throw and absolutely dominate during a match. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, comment, like, and subscribe. It definitely helps out the channel. Next week, we're going to be tackling the clown, so be sure to tune in for that. And I will see you guys next time.